Hey, it's Hirsch, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I draw male and female bodies. This video was highly requested after my last how I draw female bodies video, so think of this as an updated version. A quick disclaimer though, this isn't a tutorial, it's more just me explaining my process of how I draw bodies, but I still hope this helps you guys, so let's get started. So first, I'm going to be showing you guys how I draw male bodies. By the way, timestamps will be in the description if you're interested. Anyways, I like to simplify by drawing rough shapes such as these before I actually go in with the details, so here's what we'll be doing. So I always start with the head and work downwards, so I drew where the facial features will go. Then I drew 2 lines on the side and 2 more slanting downward for the chin. For males, I usually make the chin more prominent and sharp. I also drew ears on the side. Usually I don't draw ears because there's usually like hair covering it, but for the sake of this video I did anyways. Then I drew a line down indicating which way the body would be turned. Since this is just a straight view pose, it's just going to be going straight downward. And for the neck, I drew 2 more lines slightly curved and a diamond shape for the collarbone area so that the shoulders look more even, and I'm sure that they look like the same on either side. Since the top half of the body is just half of the body measurement, I'm just marking that out so I know where the torso ends and where the legs end. I do end up adjusting this a bit later on, but we'll do that later. Then I draw a circle for the upper chest and 2 arched lines for the shoulder, and then I connect those arched lines into the circle that we just drew before. This is roughly where the shoulders are going to be, but obviously you can adjust them later on if you need to. Here I'm just marking out where the upper chest will be, and moving on to the waist, I drew 2 more curved lines like I did for the neck, except on a bigger scale. They did end up looking a bit too thin, so I go ahead and fix that later. And I also drew this box shape that you can define more by adding in upside down triangles for the hips. By the way, I do have a Pinterest board for all my references, including poses and anatomy, so feel free to check that out. It'll be linked in the description. Anyways, moving on, legs are actually a lot more simple than they look like. Just mark out a halfway point between them, which is where the knees will end up being, and then draw these like bowling pin looking shapes to connect them. Basically 2 lines connecting the thighs to the knees, and then the knees to the actual feet. For the feet, I drew these rectangles going outwards and made them somewhat pointed towards the toe area. Anyways, don't worry about it too much because these are just guidelines, so they're meant to be simple, and most of the time your characters will be wearing some sort of shoe to cover them up. And do the same for the other leg. And then moving on to arms, they're really similar. I draw in circles for the elbow joints, and again do the bowling pin shape to connect the shoulder to the elbow and the elbow to the hand. After that, I'm going in with my kneaded eraser, which is really good for picking up like all the excess pencil lines and lightly erasing everything to go back in and add the actual body outlines that I'll need. When I'm drawing, I don't usually do every single one of these guidelines, but this is what I started out by doing, and as time goes on, you definitely don't need them as much as you need now. So now I just draw bodies based on my mental library and what I think looks like, right? But obviously if your anatomy is ever like looking a little bit wonky, don't be afraid to go back to these guidelines and the basic shape structures. Anyways, this body does look a little bit stiff because it's a straight view pose, but let me know if you guys want a how I draw dynamic poses video in the comments, since this is like a super basic version of how I draw bodies. Moving on, I thought it'd be good to show a close-up of the head itself, since it's the part that a lot of people focus on. So starting off with a circle and a cross method, since it's a straight view, neither line is curved, and then going ahead doing 2 lines on either side tilted downwards. For the chin, if you want your character to look older, usually making the face a little bit longer is the best way to do it. That's why kids' faces are generally rounder. For the 3/4 view, again, I started out with the circle, but this time for the cross, I made the vertical line more towards the left side since that's the way the head is tilted, and also I curved the horizontal line a little bit just to give it more of a 3D effect. I did make the chin line jet out just a little bit right below the eye since it's a male character. And for the ear, I do that a little bit more to the side. You generally can't see the other ear just because your head is tilted. There are some cases in which you can, but in this pose, I don't think you're really able to see it. I went ahead and added neck shadows for all the characters just because I really like doing that for some reason. And now we're going to be moving on to the female bodies. So moving on to female bodies, which I must say I'm a lot more comfortable with drawing since I draw them like a lot more often than I do males. I recommend simplifying again with shapes. Again, starting off with the head and moving downward, I do a circle and a cross. This time I make the features a lot less harsh and more rounded, so the jawline definitely won't be as prominent. I drew in the ears and the neck, once again doing a diamond shape for the collarbone area, and then I did a slightly smaller circle for the upper chest and kind of carved into it. I added a circle like right below it. I found doing this makes it really easy when you're drawing complicated, more dynamic poses. And then I'm doing this box thing with 2 more like arched lines carved into it for the hips, and that'll be like kind of showing you guys where the legs start. Also going back in just to add in the shoulder blades, basically 2 like curved triangles, but you can also just do circles to map out all the joints. I'm also marking out where the legs will be going, and I added circles for the knees and rectangles for the feet like I did with the males. Go ahead and draw 2 lines connecting the hips to the knees on both legs and using the bowling pin shape method like I did before. I'm also lightly marking in where the arms will be going, but we're actually going to draw them in later, and once again I'm slightly erasing it with my kneaded eraser. I just noticed that the head is a little bit too big for the body. I don't know if I changed that or not, but generally it should be a little bit smaller. If I remember right, it's like 7.5 heads tall is how tall your body should be depending on your height. As you can see, I'm going ahead and outlining everything that's necessary. A big part of anatomy just comes with practicing, so looking at references really helps, or just doing studies in general. I'd say the most improvement that came with me for drawing bodies just came over time. It definitely isn't something that you can magically learn overnight, but following these like sort of how I draw body videos definitely helps. And moving on to the head, I'm moving over the plant because it was blocking me, but you can start off with a circle and the cross method like I did for the male body. And like I said before, I generally don't make the chin as wide as I do for males as I do for females, but obviously it depends on the character that you're drawing or referencing. Overall, I suggest using more circular shapes or rounder shapes for female bodies while using more sharper things like triangles or rectangles for males. There are also so many body types, and I'm just trying to show you guys these 2 ones, which are the ones I tend to draw the most. I'm still trying to branch out and draw more body types in the future, so I recommend that you do the same. I drew in the ears and the neck. I made it slightly thinner than I do for the males and colored in the neck shadow, which is definitely one of my guilty pleasures. And this time I'll be showing you guys a 3/4 side view to the right side, which is the opposite. So I start off with a circle and we're drawing the first line more towards the right, which is the side that the face is shifted towards. And I also curved the horizontal line just to make it look more 3D again. I forgot to mention, but when drawing in the chin bump view for a quarter or side view, the lower you draw it, it can also make a character look more younger. So keep that in mind. And I also initially drew the eye line way too low, so I fixed that. But I just ended up erasing all the guidelines in general since it really wasn't necessary anymore. And then I go ahead and draw in the neck and like a faint like outline of the shoulders and the collarbone area. I also drew this cute little heart because I did a star on the other side, and that's pretty much it. I also labeled both of the pages at the top, but thank you guys so much for watching till the end. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope many of you found it helpful. Comment down below any other video ideas you'd like to see from me in the future, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!